Hey guys, how you doing today? It's PapaYaw here, and today I'm going to be talking about how eating dessert after you eat is just a horrible idea. Now, I'm going to be the bad guy today because a lot of people do eat desserts after they eat a main course. So why am I saying this? Why is this not advisable? Okay, so let's think about it. Let's go through this. Now, despite what society says, despite what you've seen your grandma, your mom, your friends do for their whole lives, despite that, really bringing it home and seeing how the food works right here in our digestive tract. When we eat a meal, what that looks like is that food now goes into the stomach and is getting digested. All the gastric juices are getting poured on it, it's getting broken down. This is now gonna go in your intestinal tract, and that's gonna get assimilated into your body. Now, in doing this, usually the main course we have is heavier than the lighter course. So in doing this, if we're having a dessert after the main course, now the dessert gets slowed down, right? Because the main food is getting digested now. So the dessert takes a back seat, but as it's taking a back seat, it's not just sitting there relaxing, waiting like a car waiting to pass a green light or something in an assembly line. What it's actually doing is right away is putrefying. It's breaking down, it's becoming rotten. And what happens with that is now when it gets time for it to get into the stomach and actually digest, or even before that, you're getting all this putrefaction going on. So gases are being released, you start to belch and burp, and this messes up with your esophagus. Even before it gets into the stomach, where it really gets break down, you're having these issues build up. Now when it gets to the stomach itself, this putrefied food, that when you look at food that's been left out to rot, this is what we're talking about is happening in here. What happens to it? Well, it starts to stink, and then you start to see things come out of it, maggots, worms, and so on. This is exactly what's happening in your stomach. Now, as the food is getting broken down by the stomach acids, you're not getting any nutrients from the fruits at all because it's rotten by the time it gets there, and your body's now finding itself having to compensate and draw minerals out of your body to alkalinize your body, because now it's getting too acidic from the rotten food that's going in there. So in realizing this, does it make more sense as to why I'm saying not to eat dessert, which primarily consists of fruits or some kind of liquidy or just high water content food? Does that make more sense? Now, in realizing this, it doesn't mean not to eat dessert at all, because I don't want to be the bad guy completely, right? As the food goes down your tract, you can actually enjoy more desserts at just the sitting if you wanted to do that. Wait for that food to actually go through the process, right? When you're looking at roughly, proteins take about 4 hours, carbs about 3, fruits about an hour and a half, or about an hour, and then veggies about an hour and a half too, depending on how fibrous they are. And looking at this, you can actually time it so that 3 hours later you're having your dessert, and then you can indulge. You can really go in and have as many fruits as you want, realizing that the sugar will cut down your appetite. So if you're eating foods and it's high in sugar, your appetite is going to be cut. You're not going to go and feel like eating a lot. So then you can go ahead and eat all your desserts at that point. This is important for your gut health. Why is it important? I've been talking about the stomach for a long time, or for a few videos now. When we talk about the gut, when we talk about what's happening here inside the stomach, is important to life. It's a lot of vital organs that lay in our stomach. And if we're not allowing it to go through that process of digestion and not being bloated, because your body is pulling all kinds of minerals and all kinds of gaseous effects are happening, so your stomach gets bloated. Now it starts to squish on your organs, primarily your liver. We're talking about your pancreas, your spleen, kidneys. All these get stuffed and fat deposits get released into them, or they get deposited by fat. And now we're talking about a gut, a midsection that's not operating functionally, and this affects your mental well-being as well, because the gut and the brain are connected, very much so. So it's important when we're taking it to dessert consideration to cut it out and stop eating dessert after a meal. You just want to eat the entire meal. If you really wanted to have that dessert at that same meal, then have the dessert first if you really wanted to, because this is actually going to go through your system quicker, and then you can add on the heavier foods that are going to take a while to digest. I don't recommend that, but if you had to, that would be the other option. What you want to do is have that dessert at a completely different meal, and then that's how you're going to really ensure that you break down the foods. Also, you can indulge in it fully and be with it, and in that way you're not going to want to crave more desserts or snacks later on. So that's the message I wanted to bring today. Just really recognizing that if you're going to eat desserts after your food, then you want to give it some time. You actually want to give it a few hours so your food digests. And a lot of you might not like this, because most of us, we eat and we're looking forward to the dessert. But if you really want that health, you want that optimal health that you're desiring, that you can vision and visualize and image, that energy, cutting the fat, really being toned up, then there's certain laws, there's certain ways of being that you need to follow. And this is one of them. To really respect that process of digestion, use your common sense, respect it, know that, hey, if you're eating foods that are higher in liquid or water content, they're going to go through your system faster. So don't block it with heavier foods. And this way your stomach is operating well and not getting thrown off or in a state where there's so much tension going on. So that's what it is. That's what it is. Thank you for joining me. Definitely, if you, like I said, for the dessert, eat it. That's the tip. If you're gonna eat dessert, eat it a few hours when your food has digested. So that's the tip. Definitely think about it, contemplate as you're gonna eat your next meal. See what kind of foods are on your plate and how you can strategically eat it so that you're allowing that system, that flow, that digestive process to just flow, and you're not getting blocked. Thank you for joining me again. Always constantly wishing you much health, much happiness, much prosperity. I love you, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.